Had to look a little bit more on this Max Kaiser. I know he's on Alex Jones, and I think a lot of this stuff is entertainment drama, although there's truth to it. And this was back on April 7th, 2011, when the price of silver was going astronomically high very quickly. And just to repeat what Max Kaiser, this is a spiel he pretty much gives, and I'm not knocking it, but I'd like for him to explain some things a hell of a lot better than what he's saying here. And I'm not talking about the short position per se. For every ounce of silver that somebody buys, JP Morgan sells 20 to 50 ounces of silver that doesn't exist. It's called naked short selling. That's the simple, that's the bottom line. They sell silver that doesn't exist. It's naked short selling. They sold more than, by some estimates, 3 billion ounces short, but more than a billion certainly. And that's the entire silver stock above ground. Well, I would like to know where it states black and white exactly what they're doing versus this explanation. But the one thing I have a problem with is where he's talking about the relationship between the market price of JP Morgan's stock that you see on exchange and the silver price. I don't know what, I don't know how that correlates. That really makes me wonder about this guy when he's making these statements. They've sold more short stock than exists above ground, and they are on the floor every day manipulating the price. Every time somebody shows up to buy 1 ounce of silver, JP Morgan tries to sell 10 as a naked short sale. Silver that they don't own, but at the end of the month the books have to come square. The Crow Mags have to physically deliver. Just a few days ago the Crow Mags came once again within a hair's breadth of collapsing due to physical delivery. Every month it gets closer and closer. Now what's happening with the Silver Liberation Army, which is being launched globally around the world, we're going to make what remains of silver get out of the physical stock, off the physical market, and puts JP Morgan 6 feet under. Now, there is a million problems JP Morgan has besides this, and well, I'm going to get right into that right now. If you look on their financial statements that were issued, for 2010, it'll just state right on here. As of December 31st, 2010, the firm and its subsidiaries are defendants or punitive defendants in more than 10,000 legal proceedings in the form of regulatory government investigations as well as private civil litigations. And there's also other areas such as the sale of mortgage-backed securities, a lot of different things. It's on here, but I wish Max Kaiser would explain things a lot better because I don't understand all this stuff, to tell you the truth. And he just makes these statements. This is another one. October 11th, 2011. The epic battle continues when silver was decidedly over JP Morgan's stock price. JP Morgan has collateralized billions of their own stock to support naked short sales on silver, a la Enron bets on gas. The world's coming to an end, shrieks from JP Morgan were quite loud. Remember Jamie Dimon yelling at the Canadian central banker? I do remember that, yeah. Well, his hissy fit worked, and the world gave Jamie a $500 billion or so to short silver naked some more in the form of relaxed reserve cap requirements, and the price action reflects this. The SLA must keep stacking, take physical off the market. Eventually, Jamie will be defeated. Now, the only question I have with this is a very simple common sense question. Look at silver price today. It's $34.50. We go over to silverkaiser.net. We look at a Canadian maple leaf selling for $47.50. That's $13 over spot. The first question in my mind comes into is that if you are trying to actually get silver into the hands of people, why are you selling it $13 over spot? And I could not believe that he's not aware of this, or he doesn't have a handle on this, or he's not he should be just trying to get the best deal for people, I would think, $3 over spot instead of $13 over spot. So I wonder about this guy sometimes, and I'd like for him to explain better just how we're looking at the common stock price of JP Morgan Chase, and on the balance sheet it's just on there as whatever it was issued at. There's none of this is reflected in there. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. And if you look back in 2010, I mean, JP Morgan's stock price was 47 and silver was, I don't know, $17, $18. So I guess they weren't defeated then, right? I mean, I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know how this relates. I did find this interesting. The panic of 1907 or 1908, I guess I think it was both years actually. I put this in a PDF so you can read it. And here they're talking about the original JP Morgan as a hero. Quite funny because this is out of Wikipedia, the source of information for most people on the internet. But from what I read, JP Morgan actually precipitated and made this panic and helped it along. But, according to Wikipedia, the panic may have deepened if not for the intervention of financier JP Morgan, the original one, 1907, who pledged large sums of his own money and convinced other New York bankers to do the same to shore up the banking system. At the same time, the United States did not have a central bank to inject liquidity back in the market. So what resulted from that. The following year, Senator Nelson Aldrich of New York established and chaired a commission to investigate the crisis and propose future solutions leading to the creation of the Federal Reserve System. So, just as always, propaganda is out there left and right. But I would like, when Max Kaiser makes these statements about the JP Morgan stock price and the price of silver, and I'd like to really know how all that works. And I'd really like to know also is why is he selling silver for such an extraordinary markup over spot price if he's interested in getting silver in the hands of people. So not to deflate anybody's ambitions or whatever their goals are, I have a little suspicion of Max Kaiser. I have a suspicion of Alex Jones too. I think Mark Farber, Jim Rogers, they give you much better information. It should be respected that people do make a lot of money, and that's a good thing. Also Eric Sprott, but I also want to point out that Eric Sprott was smart enough to sell silver back in April at a high. Then he came back into it. That, if people did know what that price action was going to be, I'm sure most people would have done that. Because I don't think you're necessarily breaking JP Morgan. JP Morgan's got a million other problems going on in a lot of different areas. What you're buying silver and gold for is because of the public debt of governments. Like when everybody ran out of the euro, I mean, there's so much money out there, they can't run into gold and silver. So, I mean, that's why it doesn't necessarily go up or down. But there could be a panic into gold, silver, oil, copper, the whole deal. Mostly gold and silver, I would imagine. But there's so much money out there that people can't even move into it. So it's a great investment for smaller investors, and it's really, the investment is super smart because of the public debt of governments. That is what's going to bring down the currencies. So I don't know about Max Kaiser sometimes. Tell you, he's kind of he's in the same category as Alex Jones. I mean, it's pretty good, but kind of watch everything they say, because I wouldn't take everything they say, every single word, as a grain of as the absolute truth. And I sure would like for him to explain how this works at the stock price of JP Morgan must be over the spot price of silver, because they're collateralizing their evil deed of naked short selling with the market price of their stock. I don't know how that works. I mean, it's not I don't know. It's not. I mean, the balance sheet shows the stock at issuance, right? Issuance price. So I don't know what he's talking about. So, but I don't understand these type of companies. I never dealt with this stuff, but I don't totally trust this guy. And then one thing I picked up, like I'm kind of repeating it, you're looking at spot price of silver as we sit today, $34.50, and he's selling. That's 11/14, November 14, 2011, and he's selling Canadian maple leafs at 47.5, which is $13 over spot. So, watch this guy.